Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to give you that shortcut to being, well, incredibly well-informed.
And maybe find some surprising facts along the way.
Exactly. Today, we've got a stack of fresh sources excerpts from top 5 stories this week from the Observer Group newspapers of Southern California. It's dated July 30, 2025.
And we're going to pull out the key nuggets for you.
Yeah, we're looking at quite a mix today. State legislation on things like utility bills, but also local community celebrations.
It's interesting how these local stories, they often tap into much bigger trends, don't they?
They really do. You start to see the connections.
That's right. These articles, they give us a fascinating snapshot, really. Key issues in California right now, like, well, economics, social justice, public safety, community spirit, all that stuff.
And the idea is to help you connect the dots,
Yeah.
right? See that broader picture.
Exactly. How these individual stories weave together. It's the ongoing story of California, its challenges, its triumphs.
Okay, let's jump right in then. First big story, something probably on a lot of people's minds, utility bills. They just keep climbing.
Yeah, this is about Assembly Bill 13, AB 13, authored by Assemblymember Rhodesia Ransom.
And this is a serious effort, it seems, to tackle those rate increases, but also to reform the CPUC.
The California Public Utilities Commission, yeah, that's a big part of it.
And it seems to have some momentum. It got a 16-0 bipartisan vote in the Senate Energy Committee.
That's right, a unanimous vote there. Now it's moved on to the Senate Appropriations Committee.
So what's the core idea behind AB 13? What's it trying to do?
Fundamentally, it's about boosting the CPUC's accountability and transparency,
Yeah.
especially when they make decisions about rate increases.
To protect consumers, basically.
That's the goal. It actually requires the CPUC to send reports to the legislature within 15 days of any final rate-setting decision.
Faster reporting.
Yeah, and each legislative house could appoint a liaison to the CPUC. Plus, the CPUC president would have to report every year on rate affordability.
More eyes on the process, then.
More checks and balances, exactly.
Okay, but there was something interesting about an amendment, wasn't there? About geographic diversity for the commissioners.
Ah, yes, that's a key point. The original bill was quite specific. It wanted to mandate that 4 of the 5 commissioners represent certain geographic districts, the State Board of Equalization districts.
Areas, right?
Yeah, pretty large administrative regions. But the amendment tones that down quite a bit. Now it just suggests the governor and Senate should consider regional diversity.
And Assemblymember Ransom wasn't thrilled about that change.
She said she's accepting it, but, quote, not excited about it. So, yeah, clearly a compromise she wasn't keen on.
How big a deal is that, really? Does watering down the geographic mandate weaken the bill significantly?
Well, it touches on a core concern she has. Let me give you a bit of context on the CPUC. 5 commissioners, governor appoints, Senate confirms, 6-year staggered terms.
And they oversee a lot? Electricity, gas, telecom, water, transport.
Huge responsibility. The current president, Alice Bushing Reynolds, comes from law and policy, for instance. So you need expertise.
Right.
But Ransom's point about geography isn't minor for her. She specifically called out the lack of representation from the Central Valley and Southern California.
Which is what, population-wise?
She said it's over 50% of our population, and they also don't have any representation. That's a direct quote.
Wow.
And she added, I do appreciate, at the least, the acknowledgement that we do not have equitable representation that is reflected in the decisions that the Public Utilities Commission is making.
So she directly links the lack of geographic diversity to the actual decisions coming out of the CPUC.
That seems to be her argument, yes.
Is there a counter-argument? Like, is it just hard to find qualified people in certain regions?
That point did come up. Senator Rosilisi Ochoa Bo, a Republican who actually voted for the bill, acknowledged that finding qualified people for specific commissions can be tough.
A practical challenge.
Right. Sometimes positions even stay open because of it. And, this isn't the first time this exact issue has surfaced.
Well,
A similar bill, AB 1960, by former Assemblymember Carlos Villapudua back in 2022, also pushed for regional diversity on the CPUC. It passed the legislature, strong bipartisan support, too.
all right.
Governor Newsom vetoed it.
Okay. Why did he veto the previous one? What was the reasoning?
His veto message basically said he was already committed to diversity, including regional diversity on boards and commissions. He called the bill unnecessary.
So he felt it was redundant.
That was the official line. But, the financial stakes are really high here. Ransom's office pointed out PG&E's profits like $2.47 billion in 2024.
Billion with a B.
Billion. And $86 million paid out to shareholders. Meanwhile, bills go up for regular families.
That contrast is stark.
It really is. AB 13 is trying to put some checks on what Ransom calls unchecked utility rate hikes. It's this constant tension, right? Balancing consumer needs against these powerful private utility
A
companies.
classic regulatory battle.
Absolutely. And Ransom's been encouraged to work with Senator Becker, who supported the last bill, to maybe strengthen this one, try to avoid another veto.
We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fight over utility bills and oversight. But this theme of economic fairness, of worker rights, it also pops up in another huge California debate. The gig economy.
Yes, specifically rideshare drivers. That brings us to Assembly Bill 1340.
AB 1340. And this sounds pretty contentious. It could let Uber and Lyft drivers unionize by becoming employees.
Potentially, yes. It could finally settle this debate that's been simmering for, what, over a decade? Since Uber first launched in 2009.
Wow, that long. Now, didn't voters weigh in on this with Prop 22?
They did, and that's crucial background. Gig companies poured millions into Prop 22, voters passed it, and it kept drivers classified as independent contractors.
So, end of story.
Not quite. The California Supreme Court ruling in Castellanos v. State of California was a major turning point.
How so?
The court basically said Prop 22 couldn't stop the legislature from passing future laws allowing drivers to unionize.
So it didn't completely block legislative action.
Exactly. It opened the door for AB 1340. And this bill has been moving fast. Past the Assembly, past the Senate Labor Committee, just passed Senate Appropriations 11-4. Now it's heading to the full Senate floor.
That Supreme Court ruling really seems like the key moment then. Without that, do you think AB 1340 would even be viable?
It's hard to imagine, honestly. Prop 22 seemed like a pretty solid wall until that ruling. It provided the legal green light.
Okay, but there's still strong opposition, right? Who's pushing back?
Oh, yeah. Big names. Uber, Lyft, the California Chamber of Commerce. And interestingly, some rideshare drivers themselves.
What are drivers saying?
Well, we have a quote from Al Porsche, a driver from San Diego. He said, "Voters approved Prop 22. Yet special interest groups are repeatedly trying to undermine our rights. This bill is bad for drivers, bad for consumers." He's also concerned about privacy, sharing personal info.
So the core argument is still about flexibility versus maybe security or benefits. What's the strongest point the opposition makes?
Their main points are, it forces companies to share drivers' personal info, it kills the flexibility drivers value, and it'll likely lead to higher prices and maybe fewer Ubers or Lyfts available when you need one.
Price hikes and less availability. That hits consumers.
Right. Julian Kinnett from the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce echoed that, saying it's bad for drivers, bad for consumers, and bad for businesses.
Okay, so what's the counter from the union side? What are they offering?
Their big push is higher pay. They point to a 2024 UC Berkeley Labor Center study that found California gig drivers earn a median equivalent of just $5.97 an hour after expenses.
$5.97, that's really low.
It is, and there's data from Gridwise showing Uber driver earnings actually fell 3.4% from 2023 to 2024, and Lyft's dropped almost 14%.
Even while ride prices went up.
Even while average prices rose over 7%, yeah. That's a tough pill to swallow for drivers.
So the flexibility that attracted people, now some see it as a trap because wages are shrinking. That's quite a shift.
It really is a powerful counter-narrative. And labor advocates also say AB 1340 means protection against being fired unfairly, arbitrary deactivations, and safer working conditions.
Makes sense.
Assemblymember Buffy Wicks, the bill's author, put it plainly, all workers deserve a fair shot, a voice on the job, the ability to bargain.
And there was driver testimony, too.
Yes, John Mejia, a Bay Area driver, he called gig work full of broken promises. So the flexibility is a trap if you just end up working more hours for less pay. He stressed that a union is the only way for drivers to address these challenges. It really makes you think, doesn't it? If flexibility means financial instability, maybe we need to rethink what flexibility even means in today's economy.
It's a fundamental question. So what's the timeline if this passes?
If it gets signed into law, the earliest drivers could actually unionize would be January 1st, 2026.
Still a ways off, but a potentially huge shift for the gig economy.
Absolutely pivotal.
Okay, so while the legislature is debating economic fairness and representation, there's another powerful force for change mobilizing. Let's shift gears from Sacramento to Nashville, Tennessee, actually.
The announcement from July 25th.
Exactly. This sounds like a truly historic partnership unveiled there. Leading Black faith organizations joining forces with the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the NNPA.
Yeah, this is significant. You've got two absolute bedrock institutions in Black America, the church and the press, coming together with, as they put it, renewed focus and purpose.
And the leadership involved is top tier, right?
Absolutely. Dr. Boise Kimber from the National Baptist Convention, USA, Bishop J. Drew Assured from the Church of God in Christ, Dr. Samuel Tolbert from the National Baptist Convention of America, and Dr. Benjamin Chavis, Jr. leading the NNPA.
Heavy hitters.
And their goal is ambitious, to say the least, confronting systemic disparities across the board.
That's the aim. Healthcare, education, criminal justice, economic opportunity, access to capital, tackling all of it.
Dr. Kimmer had a quote about strength and unity. He did. There's strength in unity. There's power in our collective voice. There's hope in our actions. Really captures the spirit of it.
Beyond the specific issues, what's the deeper insight here?
Yeah.
Why is this particular partnership so potentially impactful?
I think the insight is the strategic power of aligning these two pillars. Faith and media have historically been incredibly influential in the Black community. By formally uniting, they're recognizing they can create a force for systemic change that might be harder to achieve separately. It's about leveraging combined historical power.
Makes sense. And they have specific initiatives planned.
They outline 5 core initiatives. 1, shaping a unified national narrative challenging stereotypes, amplifying Black resilience and excellence.
Controlling the story.
Exactly. 2, mobilizing their networks, faith groups, newspapers for advocacy and outreach focused on solutions.
Action-oriented.
3, holding corporations accountable, demanding reinvestment in Black communities, pushing for economic equity.
Putting pressure on big business.
4, empowering the next generation, reclaiming narratives, creating pathways in education, leadership, entrepreneurship.
Investing in the future.
And 5, holding elected officials accountable, shining a light on policies and politicians that don't serve Black interests. Their message is clear. To earn our votes, they must heed our voices.
Wow, that's direct.
Very direct. And their overall statement frames it powerfully. They said, this is more than a symbolic gesture. It is a strategic and spiritual alignment. When we organize as one, we can shift the narrative. When we act as one, we cannot be ignored or denied.
It's a call to unified action, really, and an invitation for others to join.
Absolutely. A potentially game-changing coalition.
Okay, from that national stage, let's zoom back into Southern California, to Inglewood specifically, a local celebration that really seems to embody community spirit.
The second annual Inglewood Family Unity Day happened at Derby Park Saturday, July 26th.
And the vibe was?
Apparently all the way live,
Yeah.
according to the report. Big multicultural crowd, lots of energy.
Sounds fun. What was the main purpose?
Really just celebrating unity, cultural pride. It was very family-focused. Live music, free food, lawn games.
Nice. Any local leaders there?
Yeah, quite a few. Inglewood Mayor James T. Butts Jr., Congresswoman Maxine Waters, District 1 Councilwoman Gloria D. Gray hosted it. Good turnout from officials.
In the music, you mentioned live music sounded like a big part of it.
Oh, absolutely. The lineup was stacked. MC Thurs and Carolina Cristina Marquez,
Yeah.
DJ Jeff One, keeping things moving.
Any highlights from the performances?
Where to start? You had the Inglewood High School Drumline. They apparently represented the city in the D.C. Independence Day Parade. Big local pride there.
Cool.
Then R&B soul, gospel from Philip Loth, the Greater Los Angeles Cathedral Choir, bringing a church in the park feel.
Huh. Love that.
Platinum Artist Major performed his #1 gospel hit, I Prayed for You. D-Smoke spoke about Inglewood pride. Tommy the Clown brought the high-energy dance.
It just keeps going.
Seriously. 2-time Grammy winners, Mariachi Divas de Cindy Shay, Catalyst, and Inglewood Jazz Ensemble featuring another Grammy winner, Jonah Levine, Lover Dad with electrifying Latin soul and salsa,
Wow.
and closing it out, the legendary funk group Lakeside Fantastic Voyage, Anyone, led by founding member Mark Wood.
Goodness. It sounds like you couldn't turn around without bumping into amazing talent.
Pretty much an incredible showcase of the area's cultural richness.
And the overall message then was really about that Inglewood spirit.
Yeah, fostering unity, joy, neighborhood pride. The takeaway seemed to be when Inglewood unites, everybody wins. A really positive community event.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a quick look back at the California Capitol, some political playback, a mix of news here.
Right, a few key items. First, the state crime rate report for 2024. It's a bit of a mixed bag.
How so?
Well, the good news is overall crime had a 30-year low. Violent crime down 5.5%, property crime down 10%, lowest in nearly 40 years for property crime.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So what's the but?
The but is shoplifting. It actually increased almost 14%. And it's way up compared to pre-pandemic levels, 48% higher.
That specific category is spiking.
Yeah. And when you add commercial burglary, overall retail theft was up 3% in 2024.
Any reason why?
Experts suggest some of it might be better tracking or increased reporting, especially after Prop 47 reduced some penalties, but it's definitely a point of concern.
But other areas improved.
Yes, good news on car theft, catalytic converter theft, car break-ins, those all saw declines.
Okay, so a complex picture on crime stats. What else from the Capitol?
Some positive recognition for the California-Hawaii NAACP. They picked up 3 national awards at the NAACP National Convention in North Carolina.
Oh, nice. What were the awards for?
They got the Willis Edwards Award for their work on LGBTQIA plus equality and inclusion, big honor.
That's significant.
And they also won first place for publications and third for programs and the Thalheimer Awards, which are the NAACP's top honors internally.
Impressive showing.
Yeah, Rick Callender, the state conference president, talked about their powerful work. And Elizabeth Kamia, chair of the LGBTQIA plus committee, had a great quote. "True liberation must include every part of who we are, our blackness, our queerness, our humanity."
A powerful reminder about intersectionality.
Absolutely.
And finally, a major court ruling. Something about ammunition.
Yes, this is a big one. A federal appeals court, the Ninth Circuit, struck down California's background check law for buying ammunition.
The one voters approved back in 2016.
That's the one. The court upheld a lower court decision, basically saying the law violates the Second Amendment.
On what grounds?
Judge Sandra Ikuda, writing for the 2-1 majority, said the law meaningfully constrains the right to keep operable arms and argued the right to bear arms includes the right to operate them, which means needing ammo.
And this connects to that big Supreme Court gun case.
Heavily relied on the 2022 Bruen decision, yes. That case really shifted the landscape for Second Amendment challenges.
Was it unanimous in the Ninth Circuit?
No, there was a dissent. Judge Jay Bybee argued the background checks are constitutional. He pointed out they're usually quick, 89% approved in 3 minutes low cost, and effective.
Effective how?
He noted they blocked 191 prohibited people from buying ammo just in 2024.
So clear disagreement on the panel. What happens now? Does the law disappear immediately?
That's actually uncertain right now. We don't know if the restrictions lift immediately or if the state will appeal, maybe try to take it to the full Ninth Circuit or the Supreme Court.
So limbo for now. Predictable reactions, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Gun control groups slammed the decision. Gun rights groups celebrated it. The debate continues.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from utility bills and gig worker rights in Sacramento
to that powerful unity movement in the Black community nationally.
a really vibrant local party in Inglewood.
And then back to statewide crime trends and major court rulings. So what does it all mean? What's the takeaway for you, the listener?
Yeah, it's quite a patchwork, isn't it? Challenges, progress, big debates.
I think if you connect the dots, you see how these different stories out of Southern California, they really reflect these ongoing, often tangled national conversations.
Like what?
Like equitable representation, right? Economic fairness, community resilience, public safety, how we interpret fundamental rights like the Second Amendment. They're all playing out in these specific local contexts.
So the provocative thought to leave you with.
Maybe it's this. Consider how these local stories, these specific struggles and celebrations are actually threads in the larger tapestry of California and even the nation. How do they contribute to the bigger story of progress, conflict, and change? And maybe, what's your thread in that tapestry?